It is the final Friday of the month, and financial reports detailing millions of dollars are sitting on a desk, waiting for final sign-off. Operations is eager to close the books, but there is a snag. The company's internal ledger and the actual bank balance do not match. They are off by exactly 1 cent. The operations director asks the obvious question: why hold up millions of dollars of reporting over a single penny? The literal coin has zero material value to the business, and the time spent hunting it down is incredibly expensive. But the accountant reviewing the books isn't actually looking for the monetary value of a penny. She is looking for the reason the discrepancy exists in the first place. That missing cent might be a harmless rounding error, or it could be the byproduct of two massive opposing financial mistakes, say a $50,000 overpayment and a duplicate $50,000 invoice, colliding underneath the surface. The math cancels out, leaving behind nothing but 1 single cent. Until someone maps the exact sequence of events that produce that penny, the organization is flying blind. A number that looks mathematically correct on paper is completely different from a number that a business can actually trust. This tension goes far beyond the accounting department. Across the business world, modern organizations have become obsessed with the idea of a frictionless environment, where speed is the ultimate metric of success. In operations, friction usually looks like a speed bump: mandatory secondary approvals, strict dual signature requirements, or redundant system checks designed to verify work. The prevailing management philosophy treats all of these pauses as the enemy of efficiency. The goal is to build completely seamless, one-click workflows, where tasks glide from start to finish without interruption. But building a perfectly frictionless system introduces a structural paradox. When you remove all the barriers, your operations become incredibly fast and dangerously fragile. Without any mandated pauses, a small typo, a bad judgment call, or a missing zero cascades instantly from one department into system-wide failure. The mistake never hits a wall. Blindly stripping away operational friction does not eliminate the risks a business faces. It simply removes the system's ability to catch its own mistakes before they become expensive realities. To build a system that is both fast and safe, we have to audit these speed bumps using a friction taxonomy, a framework for separating toxic workflows from healthy ones. The first category is wasteful friction. This is pure, mindless repetition that fails to provide any independent verification. Think of an employee who takes a single piece of client data and manually types it into an internal spreadsheet, then into a software platform, and finally into a third-party portal. This diagram shows the flaw in that workflow. Copying information 3 times does not double-check the accuracy of the original data. It only multiplies the chances of a human typing error slipping into the system. The second category is obsolete friction. These are security steps or controls that made sense years ago, but have survived long past their operational usefulness. Picture a CEO who personally reviews and signs off on every minor expense. When the company was 3 people, that step ensured careful cash management. At 1,000 employees, it creates a massive traffic jam. This type of friction is particularly dangerous. It offers the comforting illusion of strict executive oversight, while the sheer volume of paperwork makes any meaningful review mathematically impossible. But there is a third category that organizations must protect: necessary friction. These are intentionally preserved delays designed to produce active, independent judgment. You see this outside of finance, too. A child care center might require 2 completely separate staff members to visually verify the identity of an unfamiliar adult arriving to pick up a child. That extra step slows the line down, but the delay isn't a bureaucratic accident. Forcing a deliberate human pause is the entire point. It pulls responsibility out into the open. The operational mechanism that makes necessary friction work is a concept called failing differently. If you ask 2 employees to review the exact same flawed spreadsheet using the same bad formula, pure duplication will lead them both straight to the exact same wrong conclusion. True verification forces the process to shift. It requires a different data source, a different method, or a different person. If the second check fails, it has to fail in a new, detectable way that catches the error the first method missed. When engineered correctly, healthy friction is never about slowing work down out of an abundance of caution. It is the deliberate structural engineering of a resilient system. So how do we apply this? When leaders sit down to simplify their operations, they usually start by counting steps and asking, how do we make this workflow faster? The far better, risk-aware question to ask is, what would become easier to miss if this step disappeared entirely? If the answer is nothing, you eliminate the step immediately. But if the answer is a massive accounting error, an exposed conflict of interest, or a physical safety risk, you protect that step at all costs. Which brings us back to our accountant, staring at a discrepancy on a Friday afternoon. Every missing penny demands a story. We don't trace the error to recover the physical coin. We trace it to continually test and prove the foundational integrity of the rules governing the entire business. If a financial system cannot explain a missing penny, it cannot be trusted to explain a missing $1 million. A little strategic friction is the ultimate foundation of organizational trust.